So I wanted to say, I think it's very complicated and I think it's a very complex issue, and I think there's a lot of levels that come to it. When it comes to people going to vote and then registering and then not showing up, I think first of all, the childhood developmental phases of a person are really important. And I think that's where you really get to establish what is important, what you're going to participate in, and largely what as an adult you're going to show interest in, right? And if you look at how everybody is educated in South Africa, nobody is really, educated about policies and voting and the importance of government from a young age. Nobody is nurtured to have that interest and to finally grow up and actually be active in doing that, right? And I think that's the first problem. A lot of us, we don't have that interest. We don't feel the need to go and vote, not because it's not important, but because it was never nurtured from a young age. I think someone spoke about how even in the home, there's indoctrination that takes place that is not accurate and that is not helping. And so it begins on those phases. If we're able to go back to when the people are growing up, the developmental stages, and we're able to really establish the importance of it, I think we'll see great change.
We need to speak to what are the reasons for people not voting? What is causing people to register and then not follow through? And I think once we delve into that, you realize things like, let's look at democracies, the dawn of democracy in South Africa and what that meant. Most of South Africa was subscribing to a specific political party, not to its policies, but rather to what they dreamt of would be the perfect South Africa. Today, we're years down the line, they don't have the perfect South Africa. So there's almost a very, I don't want to say intentional, diverting from politics, but it's something that's happening in our society where you see people just saying, you know what, I don't believe in voting, not because they don't believe that their vote counts, but because they just don't believe in a specific political party. And when you come to that, then it's like, okay, but what are your opinions? And aren't you looking at who else has the same opinions, who's sharing these views, who's wanting the same policies, and then voting for them? So in South Africa, I think the problem starts, especially in this country, with us personalizing voting to mean that it's an ANC thing or it's a specific political party thing. So if I don't vote for this political party, I'm not voting, and they're going to suffer from me not voting.
I mean, our parents, I think we all know this, our parents speak about how the government's not serving us. Not that they're wrong, it's not problematic, but talking about it and elaborating on a problem doesn't necessarily come with any solutions, you understand? Rather, what you should do is acknowledge these problems. That's where we start. And furthermore, look at how we can obviously better this system, basically, which is meant to serve us. Because how it obviously works is we have to elect representatives that we obviously feel good in, you understand? But also, how do you ensure that there's oversight, you understand? Because there are people that are put in these positions to obviously ensure that these people are doing their jobs, but we don't really have much to show for that, you understand? So my take also on the youth is we should encourage more programs where we obviously talk to democracy at large, not even based it on political parties, democracy. And obviously from that, from informing the youth on that, we can obviously dissect it to ourselves and see how can we be active, how can we be part of a greater citizenship, you understand, and a contributing one for that matter.
So what is the problem then, according to me? The problem is that people are, yes, they register to vote because of the beauty and the democracy that it comes with, but they don't really vote. And perhaps maybe it speaks on the very few that which votes, and then they start to have the same lining of reasoning with D-Ray to say, look, me, I see that I voted, but still, again, my vote meant nothing. Right. But then again, the problem is not voting. The problem, rather, the cause of the problem is that people do not go and vote. And what is then the cause? And perhaps maybe we should start to have a discussion to say, how best can we then tackle the cause of this problem, so that moving forward, even when I vote, though my view might not emerge, but at least I would say that at least vast majority or half of what I wanted to be done has been done through my vote.
It's important that people exercise the democratic right to actually vote and take part in choosing who they want to be their leader.
I think political parties must pull up their socks and begin to do what their manifestos say. So we've got beautiful manifestos cut across. No, in just a few of the big parties, we've got beautiful manifestos. But when it comes to the implementation, these parties disappoint the masses. It is precisely because they too, maybe they don't have the capability or the political will to implement what they've written in their manifesto. So that's the problem. That's why they decline.
For me, I think like the lack of practical means of which you can like hold these people accountable after like they are there. So it's like the tragedy of democracy, because like to begin with, like voting is just a practical way in which an individual can feel like represented in the running of this country. So you feel like when you vote, you feel like a sense of contribution towards the running of the country.